of Abraham and Sarah, although this sounds like a repeat of Abraham and Sarah, what happened to them in Egypt in Genesis chapter 12, that all, but that we not only see it in that manner, but to see it also, but to see it in another sense of being like this was another threat to one of the wives of the patriarchs. This time it was Rebecca, and that it just happened to be similar to Abraham and Sarah's previous experience with the Egyptian Pharaoh. And yes, Linda.
Now, in that one chapter, he gives orders to all the people, anyone who molests this man or his wife shall be put to death.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because he knew that they were favored by the Lord?
Yes.
And
Yes.
how did he know that? How
Um,
how
well,
did
first thing is, it's a good question. It is a good question. But the thing is about it is, I don't know how he know at this time, but you will see before the ending of this chapter, he will know. He knows.
he,
If you look at verse, where is it? Hold on.
it was the rest of the chapter is all about digging wells. So
Yeah, but no, hold on. Oh, verses 26 to 29. You will see in this same chapter, verse 26 to 29. Meanwhile, Abimelech had come to him from Jared, because by this time he told Isaac he had to leave. And the reason he had to leave was not over the whole thing about the women, about his wife. This had now to do with the fact that Isaac was becoming very wealthy, and the Philistines were getting very jealous. And therefore, another human thing, it was best to get rid of him. And so you will see when we get down to that point that Abimelech is going to ask him to leave. And although he left, left, Abimelech now comes in verse 26 back to Isaac from Jarad with Ahuzah, his personal advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his forces. And even Isaac is very surprised by his coming, and he asks him, "Why have you come to me, since you were hostile to me and sent me away?" And then you find that they answered, "We saw clearly that the Lord was with you." So you see that Abimelech and his people recognize that the Lord was with Isaac. So we said there ought to be a sworn agreement between us, because between us and you. Let us make a treaty with you that you will do us no harm. It's interesting that comes first, because it obviously appears that the king recognizes that this man's God is very real, that this man's God can cause a lot of problems. And therefore, he decides, I want to make sure that you are going to cause us no harm. And then he taps on, just as we do not molest you, but always treat you well and send you away in peace. And now you are blessed by the Lord. So um, um, for whatever reason, and they came to the realization, and they probably came to the realization because of how wealthy he was becoming. That may be a reason, because as I said, Isaac was very wealthy. Yes, he built on his father's wealth, because remember, his father, before he died, left him virtually everything. He gave some to the other sons, but Isaac got the most of it. So he already had a buffer, a cushion to start on, and he just expanded and ballooned into great wealth. So much so that it is possible that the Abimelech and the leaders of the Philistines at the time realized nobody gets this rich so quickly, or even it doesn't even have to be quickly, but get this rich unless the God is that their God is promoting this. And that could be one of the ways that he realized that this man is a man of God. Um, and so there. So, but as I was saying before, I just want you to realize that it is just that that the same kind of experience that Abraham and Sarah encountered, the same now Isaac and Rebekah also encountered, and it is not necessarily that it is a repeat, although it looks like a repeat. It could just simply be that this is another threat to a bride of a patriarch, the wife of a patriarch, as it was with Sarah and Abraham. So let's see, where am I? Um,
Line 12.
12. Thank you. Thank you, George. Isaac planted crops in that land. I know you can hear now about Isaac's wealth, how wealthy he became. He planted crops in that land, the same year reap 100-fold. When you hear that you're reaping 100-fold in the Bible, that means that you're doing extremely well. Yes, Marilyn.
I think that's a term that just means a whole lot better than everybody else.
Exactly. You are doing very well. Exactly. Because the Bible usually will speak about 10-fold and 20-fold and 50-fold and 100-fold. And when you're doing 100-fold, you are doing extremely well. You're doing the best that you can be doing. So you see that Isaac plants his crops there. He's reaping a bountiful harvest. And that's because the Lord has blessed him. So here the Lord has blessed him. And it is quite possible, Linda, that Abimelech realized that that is what is happening, that God was blessing Isaac. And then the man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. So not only was he rich, but he became even richer, according to this. And he had so many flocks and herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. So all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the time of his father Abraham, the Philistines stopped up filling them with earth. And I mean, that was really serious, because the land would have been his. That is why he was able to dig wells, because wells, the digging of wells meant, and you will see later on, that this was your land. This is where you reside. And so the Abraham had dug these wells, or his servants had dug these wells. And now, yes, Abraham was wealthy, but he was not as wealthy to promote such jealousy from the Philistines. And so now that Isaac has gotten even wealthier, extremely wealthy, the Philistines are upset, and now the father is gone. We don't care nothing much about the son, and they start covering these wells, which gives you the impression we want you to leave. But it could also give you the impression that you are ready for a war, a fight, because you are stopping up people's wells that belong of land that quite rightly belong to them. So then you see in verse 16, then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Move away from us. You have become too powerful for us." And you see then that Abimelech then sends Isaac away from the land that was theirs, that they were accustomed to. And you also have to realize that one of the reasons too that Isaac would have become so wealthy was because he obeyed. God told he was thinking about going to Egypt, and then God said, "No, you are going to stay in Gerard," and he stayed. He was obedient, and so he reaped an abundant harvest as a result of his own obedience. God blessed him. Right. So now then on to verse 17. So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerard and settled there. Isaac reopened the wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham died, and he gave them the same names his father had given them. And then you find then that in verse 19, Isaac's servants dug in the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. But the herdsmen of Gerard quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen and said, the water is ours. So in other words, this is our property. You don't belong here. So now this would have been like a fourth well that they were digging at this time. So again, as I said, that is when they said that the water is ours, that means that they own it, that's their land. That is a matter of ownership. So he named the well Esek because they dispute with him. Then they dug another well, but they quarreled over that one also. So he named it Sitnah. And then he moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. And he named it Rehoboth, saying, now the Lord has given us room and we will flourish in the land. So here now you see that the names that the wells have are the names that represent what took place. So the one that was called Esek means dispute because there was a dispute over it. The one that names Sitnath means opposition because or in some cases it could also mean quarrelsome because they quarreled over it. And then the one Rehoboth, which means space. And there you see that they were able then to dig this well and to own this land. And then from there, he went up to Beersheba. That night, the Lord appeared to him and said, I'm the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I will bless you and will increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. Mind you, have to remember as well that this was a covenant that God made with Abraham, that he will be the father of many nations, that he will have many descendants. And so the only way that's going to happen is through Isaac. And therefore, obviously, it means that God would bless Isaac because for the sake of his servant Abraham, because of his obedience, but also because of the covenant that they made, that this was what was going to happen.
Isn't that what happened with Jacob as well too? Instead of Esau?
Well, the same thing happened with Jacob as well, because he was of the promised seed, correct? Yes.
Because and Esau didn't marry a Canaanite woman. He ended up marrying a
he married Hittite women and all of that kind of stuff, and we will get to that too at the end of this chapter, because it's going to
it starts on 27. 27 is long.
So we're going to get
this one for 27. I hate to say if Pastor, it's all the way to Psalm. It's all the way to Priest Tony. It's Priest Anthony. It's all the way to 46.
What are you talking about?
The verses of chapter 27.
Oh, yeah. But we haven't got into chapter 27 yet. We are still in chapter 27.
No. I'm just letting you know the next chapter is much longer than this one.
Yeah. I got you.
I'm sorry as a spoiler alert. I had to give you a spoiler alert.
That's all right. No,
I hate to be the battle of bad news, but it is.
No, you're not.
But it is 46 verses. That's pretty long.
It is very long. So then when you see verse 25, Isaac builds an altar there, and he called on the name of the Lord, and he pitched his tent, and there his servants dug a well. And then you see in verse 26, which we were talking about just now, where Abimelech shows up with his personal advisor and his commander of the forces, and he wants to make a treaty, a covenant with Isaac, that they will be kind and cordial to each other. They will not try to harm each other. And Abimelech recognizes that this man Isaac, that he is blessed by God. Then when we get to verse 30, you will see that Isaac entertains them. He has a feast for them. They ate and they drank. And the next morning, the oath was sworn. Um, um, and Isaac sent them on their way, and they left him in peace. And that day, Isaac's servants came and told him that about the well they had dug. They said they found water, and he called it Sheba. And to this day, the town has been called Beersheba. And then it just ends off now. It goes from Isaac. And it goes now to Esau, um, where it tells us that Esau was now 40 years old. He had married a woman named Judith, who was a daughter of Beri, and he was a Hittite. And also he had a wife named Basemeth, and she was a daughter of Elon, who was also a Hittite. And there was a source of grief to Isaac and Isaac and Rebecca. So here is it. You find now. It's interesting because do your translations say that they were or that he is or he was?
No.
What does your verse 35 say?
My verse 35 is they made life better. Yeah, life bitter for Isaac and Rebecca.
You said he or they?
They.
Oh, they.
They.
That everyone says they?
I
Yeah.
have they
Yeah.
too.
Okay, I just wondered. Well, obviously, then it tells you that the Esau, obviously by marrying Hittite women, it made life very difficult for Rebecca and Isaac. They were not God's chosen people, and it made life a whole lot more bitter. So much so that you will see in chapter 27 that Jacob will get another blessing from Isaac, sorry, and he and Rebecca want him to go up to Haran, where his mother's family is, to get a wife.
I've lost track. Who is Esau?
Esau is Jacob's brother.
Okay.
Esau is Isaac's son. Isaac
Okay.
had two
Okay.
sons, Esau and Jacob.
That's right. Okay.
Esau is the elder one
That's right.
by half a minute, and then comes Jacob.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
and Esau is the one who sold his birthright. Well, he didn't really
Right,
sell
yeah.
it; he gave it away. But he
Okay.
lost his birthright, and then he also lost the blessing.
Okay.
And everything went to Jacob because it was expected that Jacob will be the one who would carry on the line. So that is what happened there.
Okay.
But by not marrying people of their tribe, of their community, cause a lot of problems with Isaac and these two wives with his parents. And as I said, they were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. And most likely, and obviously Esau was part of that he was a source of grief as well to them. And they did not want the same with Jacob. And so they will send him away to find a wife. But we all know what happened with him. The schemer got schemed too. So the schemer got schemed. So we will see that happening. Are there any questions? Well, now well, we're not going to have class next week. It's Holy Week. Those of you who are here, I expect you at church throughout the week as we go through the holiest of all weeks in the church's calendar, Holy Week. And so we will not have class again until April the 22nd, because we want to have it next week. We want to have it the week after Easter, and then I'm also gone the week after that. So it will be the week after that. So it will be the 22nd that we
You're
will have
saying
class
We're not gonna
again
have Easter, we're not gonna have classes until what, the 22nd?
of April. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So,
Okay. That does not mean you can't read to the end of the book. We're halfway there. It has 50 chapters. So just read up on the book and because I mean, I'll tell you, even Joseph, in my opinion, that gets good too. So,
I have a question about, Rebecca's not mentioned an awful lot in this. Is there enough to tell a story on TV? Is there going to be enough to fill a 2-hour episode? Or is it going
yeah,
to be
I
more
mean,
about?
no, you will
Is she
you
mentioned
will
more later?
find you will well, I mean, we came across Rebecca already, the whole notion of scheming with the son to
Yeah,
take in the food to the father to get the blessing, which we already came, and there's still more about Rebecca to come. You know, so in fact, I'll tell you honestly, I think Rebecca is going to I think the one coming Sunday is all on Rebecca. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
And I think the last one will be on Rachel and Leah. That's my feeling. But
now I
so
got a
you'll be
question. Why would-
wait, hold on a minute, Bryce. So I hope so I think there's a good set of stuff on Rebecca. And also too, I think it is going to be also, remember, I mean, you got the whole story of how the servant that Abraham sent, how they went and met Laban and the family and all of that, and how she came back and saw him walking and covered her face, and so there's a lot. There's a lot.
Okay.
There's a lot. So all of that, I believe, will be featured in this one coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna
There's
have
a
to
lot.
go
There's a
back
lot.
and watch Sarah again because it was Larry's birthday and there was a lot of phone calls and stuff
Oh
going
yeah,
on.
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
never saw the ending of it, so I'm gonna have to go
yeah.
back and rewatch it and watch
Yeah,
it.
but I think there will be a lot on Rebecca to look at. So yeah.
So I'm glad they're doing it on television. It's
Yes.
makes it a
But
lot
watch
more real.
them. And the third one is on Easter Sunday. So, watch them. Easter Sunday night. So it's good to watch them all and see what they're like. Yeah.
I got one question.
Yes,
Now, why would
Bryce.
Isaac actually tell a
Huh?
lie to E-Block and tell him that Rebecca is his sister when it's really not his sister, it's his wife and his cousin?
Yeah. And you're asking me what?
Why did he actually lie to them and say to them like,
Oh, he lied so that he
that,
wouldn't be killed because he felt that if he didn't tell them that was his sister and he had said it was his wife, that they will try to kill.
So he said to them so he said his sister instead of why couldn't he just tell them it was his cousin and his wife? Wouldn't that be better? That would have been the truth.
To be honest with you, Bryce, if he had ever said his wife, they would have still killed him. If he said it was his cousin and wife, they would have still killed him. Because once it is his wife, the thing is, if they really want this lady, they're not going to want the husband around. So they will just kill the husband regardless. That was the reason of the
Oh my
of the
God.
day. Yeah.
So he lied to protect his wife and his cousin? Oh my God.
Well, he lied to protect him. Well, he lied to protect himself. I don't know if he protected his wife because he was offering his wife up to the pharaoh and the king. So, or as you could tell, any man for that matter, because even the king said, any man could have slept with her and could have been in trouble. So he wasn't protecting his wife; he was protecting himself. Yes, George.
Oh, so he was protecting himself.
Correct. Yes, George.
So he made up the story and he just made up a lie just to protect himself.
Correct. All right, hold on,
That's
Bryce. Yes,
that's
George.
not a good thing to do.
I know. Go ahead, George.
It seems odd to me that the same people who think that sleeping with another man's wife would have brought ruin upon them would think nothing of killing him, at least in his mind.
Yes. That is true. I think that
Yeah, all of a sudden they have a moral high ground.
yes,
It's okay to kill him, but
yes. Well, you see, the whole thing about it is, I mean, you have to put this in. Hold on a minute, Marilyn. You have to put it into context too. Is that they never said they were going to kill him. That's what they're presumed that will happen. Now, it is quite possible that they were right in their presumption, but at the same time, it was the other side didn't say that they would have killed him. Both Abraham and Isaac felt they would be killed as a result, but it wasn't guaranteed that they will. I mean, if they really had faith in God, they would have known that they will not be killed, because if God made a promise to them, they didn't know they would have lived. So you get what I'm saying? So there's that other side to it as well. Yes, Marilyn.
I think women at that time were considered property.
Of course.
Not, even though it's very obvious she's a human, they weren't considered equal in any way, shape, or form to a man.
True. That is true.
So in response to George's comment, killing somebody would have been terrible, but sleeping with somebody else's wife, it's just an honor thing. They don't quite equate in
that could be possible, but I think they recognize, however, if that someone who's a woman is the wife of someone else, it is a different picture. And that is why you see that each time they're almost at sleeping with a wife, they make sure that it becomes taboo, and they want their whole kingdom not to hurt them, not to do anything with them, nothing. So even although women were property, once they were the property of someone else by being the person's wife. And therefore, they drew the line on situations like that. They did not want to be tampering with other people's property. The same thing with the wells. I mean, as I said earlier, to cover up somebody's wells, you were causing a problem. You were causing conflict. You were really out for war, because that's somebody's property that you're tampering with, and property was a big issue in those days. You were wealthy because of your property. Simple, both by mammal as well as by human. Therefore, it was that big a deal when it came to property. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well, go and have some dinner, and thank you,
We'll see you Sunday,
Marilyn, for hosting for us. But have a great dinner, and I'll see you all on Sunday for Palm Sunday and Holy Week.
Sounds good.
And if you want to get your feet washed, please call the office. I think we are at number 9 or 10, so I still need 2 more people.
For,
At least.
is that for that's for Monday, Thursday, right?
That's for Monday, Thursday for the foot washing. I
Yeah.
think for the watch, all the spaces are being filled with people,
Which is
but that
good.
does not mean you cannot still add your name to it. You can watch with someone else. So please recognize that because you may not see a vacant space, does not mean that you cannot put your name next to someone else's. Okay?
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
but
Marilyn, I have a question for you before you go off.
Okay.
oh, good.
Okay,
Well, I will let you all have your.
okay.
I
Talk-
well, I hope though. Am I also on Am I also a host as well? Because if I click off, I will cut you all off.
Well, if that happens, she'll call me on the phone.
Okay. If that happens, I will you all call. But you stay on. Let me see what happens because sometimes I click leave and it. Let me see if I click leave. What happens? But good night, everyone.
Okay, good night.
Night, Father.
Night.
Night, Bryce.
Oh, I don't think I'm a host because I don't see end call for everyone. So okay, I just see leave meeting. So that's good. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.